and salutations, and most of all, welcome back to the world of survival horror. And I've been wanting to do this video for a very long ass time. So I figured, you know what, today I had jack shit to do and I decided, fuck it, I'll record it today. So this is going to be my Resident Evil game collection type thing. It's just the games. There's going to be a couple pieces missing out of this because I couldn't find them because they're kind of put away in storage, and one of the games is actually being lent out right now, but I'll get to that whenever I get to them. So anyway, it's all my Resident Evil stuff slash Biohazard stuff slash just a whole bunch of survival horror goodness. So anyway, we're going to start off with the PlayStation 1 games, since that's where I got my start on Resident Evil, and as a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I have one more game sitting over here that I completely forgot about. And we'll start off with it. As a matter of fact, whenever I did the Let's Play of the first Resident Evil, it was this exact copy right here, the long box Resident Evil copy. And this is the exact version that I got when I first started playing the game, which got me hooked on the genre, or subgenre, whatever you really want to go with. And it just blew my fucking balls completely off, reattached them, and I hit puberty just like that. Then thanks to things like Ninja Gaiden and Contra, manly as fuck. But this game is the shit. It really is. Hokey-ass, cheesy, B-style horror movie voice acting. Puzzles that make no sense, very intricate and eccentric, but they're there anyway. And a level of violence that I had never seen within a game before, outside of like Mortal Kombat and stuff. But this game is where I got started, and I love this one to death. I also miss the style of PlayStation 1 boxes, the long box ones. The ones that have the actual like ridge to them. Like some of the other ones that's just like painted on. Now, I like this shit right here. They're kind of a bitch to take care of though, because this can come off and the tabs can break, but still, I love it. That's where it starts. Now let me move on to, they had put out the game in a smaller jewel case, so you would end up finding it like this. This was before they did the whole director's cut thing. So you got a smaller version. Is anything different about it? Fuck and no. Nothing is different about it whatsoever. It's just a smaller jewel case of it. And I'm going for like variants. I'm going for every other version outside of Greatest Hits and all the other stuff because I don't want to have anything to do with them. Let's see, so then that went into Resident Evil Director's Cut. And Director's Cut was essentially there to tide us over until Resident Evil 2, because since Capcom had to go and delay the game because Resident Evil 1.5, which we still deserved a real copy of that, fans are working on it, but I want like the legit thing from Capcom at some point. Probably won't happen, but you know, one can always wish and cross their fucking fingers. But we got this instead, and this offered up additional weapons, additional costumes, different music tracks, different camera angles, and a bunch of stuff like that. But it also gave us this, the Resident Evil 2 demo. So this was a sneak peek for everybody out there to get an understanding of what the next Resident Evil was going to be like. And I did. I got this game before Resident Evil 2 came out, and I had been reading about it in things like Game Fan, Electronic Gaming Monthly and stuff. And I was fucking stoked. Like, I could not wait. I was like, oh my god, I need to have this right now. Fucking erection. But yeah, so, and the thing is, for a director's cut, they were supposed to include some of the scenes like, during the live action segments. There's actually a whole lot of extra stuff that they cut out, and they also turned certain things black and white, whereas this was supposed to include all that, and it didn't. The part with the first zombie that you see, you're supposed to see Kenneth's fucking head fall off and then turn with all the flesh ripped off. They didn't include that, and they were supposed to, and that's why I was really pissed off about this, but I still kind of loved it because it was just extra stuff in Resident Evil, so it's like, fuck yeah. Now, I have two versions of this on PlayStation 1, which you'll understand here in a moment. This is the first version that came out right here of Resident Evil 2, which went apart in the movie or other great prizes. And I was all excited about that because it was like, oh my god, a Resident Evil movie! And Resident Evil 2, to me, this game is one of the prime examples of how you do any sort of sequel in a game. They took everything that was good about the original Resident Evil and they built upon it. I mean, the music in it, the voice acting got better, the game was just bigger, it spanned 2 discs. They had the zapping system that was included where, you know, your decisions were going to affect the other playthrough. They had 2 scenarios for each character, so it was a whopping 4 scenarios so that you could go through and see every single thing. And, oh, by the way, here, cheap plug, I also do an entire playthrough of Leon Scenario A. If you ever want to check that out on my Let's Plays, it's there. It's fucking funny. I at least like it, unless you're like, no, fuck you, eat a dick. And I'm like, well, no, you, that's your diet. Dick is your diet. But, no, genuinely, this game is just, it's fucking amazing. It is. It's, like, the fact that they included different types of zombies, all the extra monsters, like seeing the Licker, for example, having William Birkin chase you down, it graphically looked a lot more appealing. It was just, they did everything better, and it's amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite games, so fuck yeah to Resident Evil 2. Now, the variant to that is this, the Resident Evil DualShock version, which they actually had re-released Resident Evil Director's Cut as well with a DualShock version. I'm missing that one though. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually a single disc, but I just don't come across it all that often. And I'm trying to avoid all greatest hits, like fuck those. But yeah, so DualShock support. And to me, I actually think it controls better with a D-pad, to be honest. Like, the tank controls just control better with a D-pad. That's really the truth. The analog ones, not so much. It's not like, you know, you're using the right analog stick to control a camera angle. All that tongue-tied stuff, it's not like you're using the second analog stick to control a camera angle or anything, because everything is a fixed camera angle. So, yeah, I just stick with a D-pad anyway. But I want to go and pick this up, so fuck it. Now I have it. Hurrah! Let's see. One of the ones that most people consider to be, you know, the one that they didn't play through all that much or wasn't all their favorite and stuff, but I still love to death, was Resident Evil 3. And it had Nemesis. Look at him. Look at that big old toothy grin. His fucking Dennis loves the shove him. He's like, I can tell you've been flossing, Nemesis. And Nemesis is like, stars. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. The little rocket launcher and stuff. And you get a big fucking lollipop. But Nemesis, it kind of like William Birkin chase you down, but I found him to be a hell of a lot more horrifying. He also has like a bunch of different forms, and you get to go and play as Jill in this game. And this one takes place like, it's between Resident Evil, it takes place around the time of Resident Evil 2, and it's real fucking crazy how they have it all set up. But this also has like the little, was it the Mercenaries mode? Is that what it is? I cannot think off the top of my head. Fuck it, well, you basically get to run around and shoot a whole bunch of shit as like one of the Umbrella ops and stuff, because, you know, you have Carlos and he's got that super cool accent, which I'm doing a bad impression of, and it just sounds like my regular voice. But with this, you were actually creating your own ammo, and it was just, it's a really badass game. I like that they had 180-degree turnaround in this. That was one of the things that was just like, about fucking time. You know, you could go up and down the stairs and stuff without it cutting to a loading scene and showing like them going up the stairs slow as all bloody fucking hell, because it's like, holy shit, just go, there's zombies behind you and you're just taking your good old time trudging along. Get the fuck out of here. But we all know better because it's a loading scene. But yeah, Resident Evil 3, I do. I actually like this whole lot, but it's, out of like all the ones on PlayStation 1, I've beaten this one the least. Not to say that I like it the least, it's just I always tend to play the other ones more. As a matter of fact, I might go and play through it again really soon. And on the cover of this, might as well go and include this. Open that up. And right there, another survival horror game from Capcom that a lot of people should pay attention to is Dino Crisis, the very first one. And for a long time I actually liked Dino Crisis 2 more than the first one, but I have to say that over the years it's changed. I definitely like the first one the most. But yeah, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, very, very good game. Give it some love, you should, because it just kicks all sorts of ass. Now, the one that a lot of people consider the worst, and I did for a long time, but I have a soft spot in my heart for this, which I also did a complete playthrough of this in one single sitting, so give a guy some fucking credit. And that's Resident Evil Survivor. This has voice acting I have to say might actually be worse than Resident Evil 1, and a lot of people don't actually pay attention to that, but I mean, it's pretty fucking bad. And the thing is, like, in the UK and Japan, when they got this game, you could actually use the gun con with it, so it would control, properly, the way that it's supposed to. And this, you couldn't do that. You had to go and use the D-pad and stuff, but it's an easy fucking game. Like, if you're playing on the normal setting, it's easy as shit. If you're playing on, like, the harder setting, it could beat the living fuck out of you. Like, I know I died quite a few times trying to play on a harder setting. But this game, it's just... It's weird because, like, the entire layout of the city is fucking ass backwards. The enemies are laughable. Like, if you're not looking at them, they can't hurt you. And I got to find out about that, like, on my own while playing through. It wasn't something I read about. It's just like, holy shit, just don't look at them. It's kind of like the old Looney Tunes thing. Don't look down and you won't actually fall. The more Wile E. Coyote actually learns this, the better off that he'll be. But yeah, check out the Let's Play of it if you're curious what it's like. It's a fun game. I'd say if you're a diehard Resident Evil fan, at least give it a go, because it's, fuck it, why not? Now, like I said, I was going for every variant and different version, so I've got a lot of the same exact games. Like, here, I'll pick up some of the Japanese ones I have right here. Now, this one is, in Japan, again, it's called Biohazard, so you'll see Biohazard, Biohazard 2, Biohazard 3. This is Biohazard 2, and I gotta do the thing like... Yeah, I ought to make that actually the thumbnail for it, like... But anyway, this is actually from a store in Japan called Hard Off. But yeah, Hard Off basically has like tons upon tons of games. I've always told myself that if I went to Japan, I'd go there, because I see that they have oodles of fucking Sega Saturn stuff, Nintendo 64, Famicom, Super Famicom, just everything. And this is from there, and the game is pretty much, it's sealed. It's not factory sealed, but it's complete, which is kind of cool, because it's got the little spine card with it too, which I think is nice. And if you're not aware, a lot of games in Japan actually have spine cards and stuff on them, along with CDs too. But another thing that makes these games interesting is you can actually play the Japanese version, so long as you know what you're doing. Like, you can actually play a lot of import games without knowing Japanese, but the dialogue in these is in English by proxy, and they actually have Japanese subtitles to it, so you'll still know what's going on in the story. It's just like all the text documents and stuff, you're like, what the fuck does this do? So if you've never played any of the English versions and you just went straight to a Japanese one, there's probably going to be a lot of guesswork, but yeah, there you go. Oh boy. Then Biohazard 3, Last Escape, which is our Resident Evil 3 nemesis. And I actually like their cases for these. Right on top, like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen these before, it might be kind of hard to tell, but there goes the PlayStation logo right there. So it's actually like a, custom little case. And when you open it up, the cover itself is its own little slip thing. The manual is by itself, and I like the manuals a lot, because they have like this little matte finish to them, and then when you open it up, it's all gloss. And it's a fully colored manual and stuff, so again, you won't have a single fucking clue what the hell's going on. But, and right here is the disc for it, which I want to show you a little comparison real quick so you can see the difference between their discs and ours. Alright, so here goes the American version, the NTSC version of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and right here is gonna go Biohazard 3 Last Escape, and it looks fucking badass because it's in all black. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, dude, that's fucking brutal shit. Brutal! Blacker than the blackest black. And, Nathan Explosion is going to definitely be like, oh yeah, well no, up the fucking irons for that. But, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of neat to go and have that. Let's see, and lastly, out of the Japanese PlayStation 1 games, I have Biohazard Director's Cut, which obviously is Resident Evil Director's Cut. Now, this one right here, I thought it was kind of neat because, let's see, there's is the DualShock version right off the bat, and... Well, I'm sorry, Biohazard Director's Cut DualShock, because I think there's a different version. But right here, it has Biohazard Director's Cut DualShock version Disc 2 Complete Disc. And that was the thing that made this version really unique, and for any Resident Evil connoisseur and collector and stuff, this might be something that you'll find really interesting. I was doing some research and I found out that the complete disc actually includes all the stuff from Resident Evil 1.5. Well, it's basically videos and stuff, but we didn't really have a lot of stuff like that. And I was just like, Holy shit, that's so fucking awesome, because I've been obsessive compulsive about Resident Evil 1.5 ever since I first got to see screenshots of it in scans and stuff, like years and years ago while reading through game magazines. So I thought it was kind of cool to have something that was related to it in a physical format, and I didn't even have any idea that it was on there, because I was like, what the fuck's the complete disc? And there you have it. That's what that is. So that's Japanese PlayStation 1. Might as well go with this. This is actually one of the games that I couldn't find because, like I said, it's in storage somewhere. There's two different versions of Resident Evil Code Veronica on Dreamcast. And this is going to be, well, technically three. This is one of the versions right here, and for the fucking love of me, I cannot remember which one this is exactly. Oh, man. And by the way, it does actually have the spine card, so there. Spine card! Hooray! Damn, what version is this? I know that there were some differences between this and the other one that I have, which comes with a little slipcover, which looks a lot like the back of Claire's jacket, or vest, whatever the hell you really want to call it. But there's those two versions. I want to say that one of them ends up including the stuff that's in Code Veronica X, which premiered on PlayStation 2. I'm pretty sure that's what they include, but yeah, I can't fucking remember off the top of my head. One interesting thing is that there's two limited edition Resident Evil Dreamcasts, and I've been dying to get my hands on them, but they are so insanely rare and impossible to find. I've only ever seen them on eBay, and they're always like buy it now prices and stupidly high, and that's like some of the only stuff I've ever wanted. But the one is a Resident Evil Code Veronica Dreamcast. It's dark red and translucent, and it's black on the bottom, looks cool as fuck, has a matching memory card that goes with it and a controller. And then there's the even more rare, which I think there was only like 300 versions of this made, of the Raccoon City Police Department one, which is like a dark purplish, bluish, it's kind of hard to tell, but and it's also translucent, and I was just like, oh my god, it's so beautiful! And most things, whenever I get them, I'll open up and actually mess with them. With those, I'd probably just set them up somewhere just to ogle and look at. I wouldn't even want to touch them because I'd be like, it's too amazing, it's a holy grail! But those are things I've always been interested in, and I just thought it was neat that they even had stuff like that. Now, this right here are my PAL copies of the PlayStation 1 Resident Evils, which, again, there really isn't much of a difference, and I already went through what some of these are, but if you've never seen a PAL version of any game case, theirs is a lot like the Japanese ones, where it'll say PlayStation right on top there. And the cases, while I think they look really cool, I know that a lot of people that I'm friends with, like overseas and stuff, say that these are extremely prone to breaking on the tabs and stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised by that just because it's a big, bulky case in general. But if you want to see what that looks like, which I always thought that looked cool with the little eye there. I thought that was really badass. It actually reminds me of the Resident Evil 1 strategy guide because it has the big emphasis on the eye and stuff. But yeah, all Resident Evils. Got Resident Evil Survivor right there. Got Resident Evil 3 Nemesis with a nice little holographic sticker because shiny, 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 shiny. Oh my god, ADD. But yeah, so you got that. Got Jill being hot on the back. And you got Resident Evil 2. Dos. So got Resident Evil 2 on there, and I was extremely happy to have these. It's just one of those things, like, for anybody that's a big-time collector and stuff, and you're trying to go for variants and different versions and stuff, I was just like, dude, that's so fucking sweet. So I have to thank St. Magnus for hooking me up with those eons ago. It was such a long time. This right here is the only Resident Evil on Nintendo 64. It would have been one of two, but Resident Evil 0 got canceled, and then the game development started up on the GameCube. But we got this one right here, Resident Evil 2. And this right here is pretty much development prowess on a system. This came out very late into Nintendo 64 lifespan, and on top of that, they managed to fit 2 discs, complete with CG cutscenes, all onto one cartridge. That was fucking unheard of, because a lot of people, whenever they had seen the Nintendo 64 initially, like developers and stuff and publishers, they had seen that the Nintendo 64 cartridges had a lot of limitations to them by comparison to using a CD format. But this right here was just, it was amazing. And a lot of people consider this to be their favorite. My personal favorite is probably either the PS1 version or Dreamcast version. But this, you know, they had like different colored blood, and there was some other changes. I can't remember off the top of my head. Damn it, I hate whenever that happens. I try to know as much as I possibly can, but I'm doing it all off the cuff, so, you know, just cut me some slack, please. But yeah, it's Resident Evil 2 on Nintendo 64. The only real downsides to it are the actual CG cutscenes. They don't look nearly as nice. And I think that there was something with the music. I can't remember, damn it. It's been a long time since I've actually fucked about through this version of it. But it is really cool to see Resident Evil on a Nintendo 64. Just seeing the box alone is kind of cool. So I was like, fuck yeah to that. Let's see, where to go to next. How about some Japanese imports for PlayStation 3? Now, for some reason, Capcom has had this weird habit as of late of not giving us any physical renditions of certain games that they're releasing, but they'll release them in Japan. And this right here is going to be a prime example. On the Nintendo Wii, there is Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles and then Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. Both of them are on-rail shooters similar to Time Crisis, Virtual Cop, House of the Dead and stuff, and they're some of the best. And it's strange to think that a lot of people actually haven't like played them, and I find that disheartening. I'm just like, dude, that makes me just mega frown town. It's one of those things I'm like, you have to try them. Well, they released them in HD for PlayStation 3 with the PlayStation Move. One of the only reasons why I want to get a PlayStation Move, by the way, that and House of the Dead. But if you're going to get it, make sure that you got that big-ass gun attachment, the sharpshooter. That's the only way that it's going to control really well. Trust me on that. But this right here is Biohazard Chronicles HD Selection. So yeah, and this includes both of them on there, but in addition, this has like a little booklet with this as well. Let's see if I can go and get this out. This is what the case looks like on the front, so you can see what both games are like. And they're really good games. If you're wondering anything about them, they're technically like, imagine going through every single one of the Resident Evils in an on-rail shooter format. And that's pretty much what it is. But there it is. Dark Side Report. And, well, it should be called Downside Report, because Downside is I won't be able to tell you what the fuck half the stuff says. But there goes Krauser, there goes Steve. Here goes a whole bunch of monsters right here. And it's just, you know, kind of like a bunch of stuff just showcasing what the hell is in the game and stuff. But I was really happy to go and pick this up. Capcom, seriously, pull your head out of your ass and at least do a limited press release of this stuff and the Resident Evil remakes and a bunch of other shit like Strider, for example. Don't get you motherfuckers, you're crazy. But yeah, I imported it because the PlayStation 3 doesn't have region lock on it, so I was like, fuck it, I'll go and get it, and I did. Then I got this. I actually did an unboxing video of this, so I won't go like too crazy with all details. But Biohazard Anniversary Package. And it has PlayStation Store, because again, talking is tough. It's basically just digital download vouchers on the PSN, so you can get Resident Evil, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, which obviously I don't give two fucks about it. The box, on the other hand, looks badass as shit. If you do want to see like super detailed version, just check out my unboxing video of it. But let's go take this out so you can see everything that's inside. There's an art book for Resident Evil 6. Move that out of the way. Now, this is kind of like the greatest hits versions of games in Japan, where it's called The Best, The Best, The Best. So Resident Evil 5 Alternative Edition and Biohazard Revival Selection, which is the HD versions of Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Code Veronica, but the physical versions of them, because again, they do not give us any love over here. And Biohazard 6, which seemingly is a lot of people's least favorite. Resident Evil 5 would probably be my least favorite, but you know, everybody's got their favorites and least favorites. But this comes with all of those inside there, and it's a nice little collection, and it's something I'm like, why don't they bring that out here? I mean, when we get collector's editions, they end up giving us like one that, it's like, here's one physical game, and here's download codes for everything else. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me, right? And that's something else that you'll notice. I don't actually have those collector's editions on, well, not, the collections on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. They're escaping me at the moment. But that's because it's basically just download code. So that's why I kind of avoided them, was like, fuck it. The Archives Edition, is that it? I forget. Fuck it. So we will move on to, let's see, PlayStation 3. That sounds like a good thing. One of the worst Resident Evils of all time, and just made me fucking frown. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. If you've played it, you understand why it's not that great. And if you haven't, just trust me, when you see it in a very fucking cheap dollar bin, don't get it. I did go and pick it up quite a while back. Actually, I had originally played another friend's copy of it, and then got this because it was $2.50. And I won't see the $2.50 back. That kind of sucks. That makes me sad. Go away. No one likes you. Or all the stupid fucking control and fucking glitches and other problems with it that you have. Resident Evil 6! And yes, that is a giraffe mounting a poor person right in their face. So, yeah, basically it's Resident Evil 6, and this was supposed to be the return to survival horror, but it seems that only one of the 3 scenarios decided to dabble in anything like that, and that was Leon's. And it's Resident Evil 6. It actually brings back Sherry Birkin, and I thought that was kind of cool, so yeah, you got that. And it controls a lot like Resident Evil 5, has a big emphasis and like co-op and stuff. I'd rather just run around solo, personally. But yeah, Resident Evil 6. There you go. Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition. Now, Gold Edition ends up having a little bit of extras. Let's see. Explore the horrors of the Spencer Mansion as BSAA agents Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine in a new prequel episode, Lost in Nightmares, which Lost in Nightmares, oddly, was a lot better than Resident Evil 5, like, a lot better. And I found that to just be kind of weird. I was just like, you're fucking kidding me. The extra mode is better than your main game. Ouch. But it did kind of showcase that was them using that as a foundation for Resident Evil Revelations, because the two kind of remind me of one another. Desperate Escape shows the other side of Resident Evil 5 as you take control of Jill and Josh as they fight their way out of Kijiji Tricell facility. And the Mercenaries Reunion brings 8 new characters into the bloody fray. I could give a fuck less. Battle against hordes of Majani, and even other players in Versus. 4 new costumes, ensure you always fight evil in style. So yeah, Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition. If you're going to get a version of it, obviously get the Gold Edition, because if you get the regular edition, you're not going to have the Lost in Nightmares thing, and that alone was what made me want to go and pick it up. And the best modern day Resident Evil game out that you should all be playing is Resident Evil Revelations. I promise you, this is pretty much a step in the right direction. I won't say that, man, this is definitely going to be better than all the original, no. But it is a damn good game. To begin with, they made the game scary again. They made the monsters scary again. And it controls really, really well, and the environments are real fucked up, and it's a lot of fun. I liked it a whole bunch. I got it on Nintendo 3DS, I've got it on PlayStation 3, and one of the copies I had mentioned earlier that I said that I had lent out is my copy on Wii U. My friend Jarrett has that. I hope you're playing it, Jarrett. You're probably not even watching this video, and if you are, you're like, oh yeah, I should get around to playing that. So fucking play it. Do it. It's good for you. But genuine. And if you're wondering about, like, which version should I get the version on Wii U. Unless you're, like, into achievement hunting and trophy hunting, then, you know, just go with that. But the Wii U version works a little bit better, just due in part to the fact that it, the actual pad, the Nintendo Wii U gamepad, Jesus fucking Christ, that works a lot like how it does on Nintendo 3DS, so I kind of like that. But monsters in this kick a lot of ass, and I don't know, I like it a lot. It's really cool. And Jill, you get to control Jill Valentine again. That's my favorite Resident Evil character. Also one of my favorite female characters in all video games, so yeah. Let's see. How about some copies of games on PlayStation 2? That sounds good. Yes? That sounds good? Okay. We'll go with that. So, first things first, get this out of the way. This is Resident Evil 4, the collector's / limited edition / it's in a metal case, and that is fucking badass. I wish more games came in metal cases. I just like that a whole bunch. But, oh, I'm sorry, premium edition. So it's Resident Evil 4 Premium Edition. Helps if you read, Alpha. It does indeed. So, if you go and you open it up in here, you'll notice that it comes with an entirely extra disc, and it's also got art on the inside of it, which will go and show the village and stuff. And the extra disc, actually you can just see it right there, the making of Resident Evil 4, and stuff like that I really do like to watch because you get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And for anybody that's into like movies and stuff and into games, and you get to see, you know, you get like really into a franchise and stuff, and you want to see like, you know, the development process of it, well, there you go. There's that. Resident Evil Code Veronica X, dun dun dun. The game deserves a lot more love than it gets, and that's really a truth. Whenever it came out, it was pretty much kind of like the last of the old school Resident Evil games, and it was the transition into 3D and stuff. And the game is brutally hard for the first half. After that, it's not such a problem, but it's got one of the most fucked up storylines out of all the Resident Evils. I like the fact that Jill, holy shit, that Claire was going through the one graveyard scene and zombies are coming up out of it and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking eat you and shit. And, you know, I like the tyrant fight and stuff, and it's just a lot of really cool stuff. But the Code Veronica X version sheds more light on Wesker, which that was one of the main reasons why I want to go and pick it up over the regular Dreamcast version, which is all that we had available to us whenever it first came out. But the more story, the better for anybody like me, because I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing! So yeah, Wesker's a complete utter fucking prick in it, but that's why I love him. He's so fucking cool. Oh, and Chris is in the game too. Yeah, as you can tell, he's right on the cover. But, you know, it's all about Claire. Claire kicks ass. Resident Evil Dead Aim. This is technically part of the Survivor series, and this is actually one of the few Resident Evil games I've never beaten. I lost interest in it. It's just one of those things, like, I haven't played it in a really long-ass time, but let's see. It does have gun cons to support, something that Resident Evil Survivor severely lacked, and Joy Anti-Umbrella Search and Pursuit Team Agent Bruce McGavin, as he encounters a new layer of Umbrella's insidious activities. In this all-new Resident Evil first-person action shooter, you must search, sneak, and use battle moves to regain control of a sea-jacked cruise ship lost in the Atlantic. And should you find yourself trapped amongst hordes of zombies and mutant beasts, your aim better be dead on. Sharp graphics and intuitive gameplay, first-person seamless navigation and combat, weapon upgrades as you progress through the game. An all-new Resident Evil storyline, GunCon 2 Light Gun controller compatible, also supports DualShock 2 controller. An intense blend of action and puzzle solving. So, yeah, there you go. If I'm trying to remember if this one's actually in the arcades, because I know that there's a couple of Resident Evil games that they have, like first-person shooter on rail type stuff that are there. I think this one might be one of them. Don't quote me on that, though. But, yeah, I think that might be. And we have the Resident Evil Outbreak games. Dun dun dun. The Resident Evil Outbreak games, I actually didn't get into these a whole lot whenever they came out, because I didn't have the capability of being able to go online at the time. But one of the things I know that kind of bugged me about it was they didn't seemingly have voice chat. But I know that apparently people had brought back the servers from the dead. They were just like, T-Virus, yeah! Now we got servers and stuff. But you can take on a whole bunch of different characters, and none of them are technically like, you know, big-time Resident Evil characters or anything. But each one of them has like their own capabilities, their own stats and stuff. And it's kind of like team combat, run around and go fuck up a bunch of stuff. The cool thing about the Resident Evil Outbreak games, though, is that they explore, like, different areas of the city. They bring up new premises, like, imagine going into a zoo, and, you know, this outbreak is going on. What the fuck would happen? And I just thought that that was kind of neat. Here, we'll go and read the back of this. Let's see. Events span from Resident Evil 1 through 3. Keep in mind, I'm reading through Resident Evil Outbreak 1. Character choices dictate player abilities and scenarios. Cooperative and competitive gameplay, real-time 3D graphics. Multiplayer, 4-player in online mode. Die and join the zombie ranks, first time ever in Resident Evil, which that is kind of badass to go and munch on your fucking fellow compatriots. New option to install game data to the HDD, optimizing loading time, which is one of the few games for the PlayStation 2 that actually utilize that feature. So, yeah. And I didn't get to play this one all that much. I've actually played the first one a lot more than the second one, but it's Resident Evil Outbreak games. I thought it was a neat concept, and something I wouldn't mind seeing them come back with, but it seemed like that was Operation Raccoon City's like attempt at doing something like that and failed fucking miserably. So at least that feels like Resident Evil and is fun and is unique in a lot of cases, whereas Operation Raccoon City, not so much. Let's see, some more Resident Evil 2 goodness on PlayStation 2. This I got pretty much because I wanted to get the regular version of Resident Evil 4, and I wanted the box. Resident Evil Essentials. And there was a while towards the end of the PlayStation 2's life cycle that they were putting out little collections of games inside of a box for one price. And this has Resident Evil Outbreak, which I just got done talking about, Resident Evil 4, just a regular edition, not the fancy premium edition, and Resident Evil Code Veronica X. So it has all those, kind of nice to go and pick that up. I know that there's different versions of it. I think that there's one in the PAL region, if I'm not mistaken, but I'd have to go and look into that. And guess what? I'm recording, so I can't do that! Ha-ha! Okay. These are the PAL versions of the Resident Evil games for PlayStation 2, so let's see. Well, just got done talking about Outbreak File 1 and 2, so might as well go and put them up. So we have them right there. I actually think that their covers are a bit cooler looking than ours, so yeah, got those. They also have blue cases. That always makes me happy. I don't believe that there's any difference between their versions and our versions as far as these games are concerned. If there is, I did not hear about them whatsoever. This right here is Resident Evil 4, which I do like the cover to this a whole lot. And this actually makes me think about Tales from Darkside, the intro to that, which is some of the scariest fucking music in the entire world, I'm just saying. So, yeah. And it got a gold from PlayStation 2 Official Magazine, UK version, 10 out of 10. And rightfully so, it's a damn good game. And Resident Evil Code Veronica X, I do not like this cover all that much. Here, look, I can be Claire Redfield. And that suddenly just killed the boner for anybody that was interested in Claire Redfield, because now she has a big, fat, fucking 9-inch cock. Okay, so we have the inside of this, which actually includes the Devil May Cry demo, and I will show that to you. It is right here. So, Devil May Cry, and Devil May Cry is amazing, and for a lot of people out there, you probably already know, but for those that don't, Devil May Cry was originally going to be Resident Evil 4, and because it played so differently, they were like, yeah, you can't make that into a Resident Evil game. They're like, fuck it, this game's amazing, make it into its own intellectual property, and they did such. It was quite amazing. It was going to star a character who was kind of beefed up in the same exact way that Wesker was, and I thought that was a neat premise, so I was just like, neato. And you can, playing through the first Devil May Cry, you can still see hints of how it was supposed to be a Resident Evil game, which I think that's neat. Where should I go next? Here. We'll go on to GameCube. That seems like a good idea. Pick these up. Now, I actually did an unboxing of this, so if you want to check out a separate video of it, but this is the limited edition that came from GameStop. So, yes, the devil pay their dues and stuff. I got this well after GameStop had it there, so they didn't get my fucking money. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 little premium edition. Nice metal case. Now right there is the game, obviously. And it's got some extra stuff inside. Let's see, the Resident Evil movie soundtrack is inside of here. A little art cell right there, and some other stuff. Like I said, I got a video of it, just check that out. But I was pretty happy to go and pick up something like this. And it's actually in good condition. Normally, whenever you find these, they're all banged up, nicked up, they have fucking paint chipping off them, and they're dented to all shit, or the hinges are broke, something like that. Now, as far as Resident Evil is concerned, if you're really trying to get into Resident Evil, the one system you want to look to, the GameCube. Look at that. That's a lot of Resident Evil. Lot of Resident Evil right there. I don't actually have any of the PAL or Japanese versions of Resident Evil. I'd like to get them at some point. They even have like a little collection box for Resident Evil on GameCube I've always wanted to get because it looks so fucking cool. So maybe down the road, whenever I become a millionaire, I'll have all this Resident Evil stuff. But for the time being, working my bullshit ass job, I'm just going to be able to afford this stuff right here. But going through this, first I'll get this out of the way. This was something I was just like, wow, a standalone preview disc for Resident Evil 4, and I thought that was fucking neat. A history of horror. Prepare yourself for a scream-filled trip down memory lane as you witness the terrifying legacy of the Resident Evil series. Then take your first steps into the future of survival horror. Watch the thrilling history of Resident Evil in 6 grisly movies, including a trailer for the forthcoming Nintendo GameCube release. Best of all, take control of Leon as you try to survive a shocking playable demo of Resident Evil 4. They'll be sure to take your breath and maybe your life away. Dun dun dun! But yeah, I wanted to go and get it because I thought it was fucking neat, because it literally came in its own case. I was just like, whoa! Let's see. So, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, this one is the biggest pain in the ass out of the entire bunch to go and find, so if you are going to decide you want to go and get the Resident Evils on there, just be forewarned that, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And, yeah, it took me a while to go and track down, so... Regular-ass Resident Evil 4, which the cover of mine kind of looks like shit, but I have 2 copies of it, so what the fuck do I care? It's literally just a plastic on it. It always looked like ass, and that's what happens when you lend your game to people way, way, way back in the day. So, Resident Evil 4, you're getting fucking chainsaws through the chest. It was essentially like them changing everything about Resident Evil, and as a matter of fact, they have something, if you get bored, it's called Resident Evil 3.5, the original version of Resident Evil 4, and not the Devil May Cry version. Devil May Cry was the first version, then they made Resident Evil 3.5, then you got Resident Evil 4, so there's actually quite a few iterations of it. But Resident Evil 3.5 dealt with, like, the paranormal and shit, like, things coming to life and chasing you down, like, fucking actual, like, poltergeists and spirits, apparitions, whatever the fuck you want to go and call them. Like, with, like, this chain hook and shit coming after you, and I was just like... Dude, holy fuck. Now, I have no clue why the hell that was scrapped when it could have just been, like, its own standalone title, because it looked amazing. Capcom, you were fucking silly. Resident Evil 1.5, you scrapped. 3.5, you scrapped, and they're just sitting there. Also, Mega Man Legends 3. But that's, you know, in tons of other videos. But still, Resident Evil 4, very, very good game. It was one of those things, like, when it came out, people literally shit themselves at how amazing the game was, because it set a standard for survival horror, for action games, and a bunch of other stuff, and, you know, it kind of made it more accessible to a much larger audience, which is what most, you know, game companies want to do with their series, especially if it's a long-running series that's then become a franchise, so there you go. Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, GameCube, yeah. Resident Evil 2, GameCube, yeah. The Resident Evil remake, oh yeah, one of the best survival horror games ever. Fucking ever. Look at this right here. This right here is a bad mamma jamma. This right here is the game that will put bitches in their place. I promise you that. Resident Evil 2 is the shit. Resident Evil 4 is the shit. Resident Evil Remake is the shit. And we're actually getting an HD version of that coming out at some point soon for PS4, Xbox One, a bunch of other shit. But where'd it come out first? On GameCube. And there's also the Archives Edition that's on Nintendo Wii. But this game just... They redid it from the ground up, which I thought was really, really fucking cool. Like, everything was redone from the ground up. All the dialogue, the way that the entire mansion is set up. They added a whole bunch of new things. They had Crimson Heads, which are zombies that come back from the dead. So they're undead dead? I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. But remember, burn the fucking bodies. Always burn them. And graphically, this game is just, it's fantastic. Like, it really is. It's one of those things that, normally I'm not impressed with the game's graphics, because, I mean, you know, I'm more about art style than anything, but this game still holds up even now, and it's 2014, like, holy shit. Like, it still looks amazing. But yeah, Resident Evil on GameCube, just fucking awesome. And I had mentioned it earlier, it was originally in development for Nintendo 64, moved its way to GameCube, and that's Resident Evil 0, which you actually get to go and take control of, actually a completely new character, Billy Cohen, and you get to take control of Rebecca Chambers, who was in the very first Resident Evil, but just played a minor role in macing Chris Redfield in his fucking face, and talking with one of the worst voices in the entire universe. It was fucking so bad that it was good. But this game, it's pretty damn badass. It's kind of a departure in the sense that you can constantly switch between the two characters, which that I liked, and also graphically this holds up right alongside with the Resident Evil Remake. It's the same exact engine, so... But this introduces a whole bunch of new enemies. It gives you a backstory of all the events prior to the stuff that happened in the first Resident Evil, and explains a whole bunch of stuff that you normally didn't have answers to, and I thought that was kind of cool. They got rid of the item box, which I was something that threw people off, because you drop your items wherever the fuck they're at, and I always thought that was kind of weird. But Resident Evil 0, damn good game. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Oh. My only Resident Evil I have for Xbox 360, and the box is coming apart, but that's how I bought it. It was cheap as fuck, so I had to get it. And this is Resident Evil 5, and this is the collector's edition, which includes a whole lot of shit. On the back, it's got a little Chris Redfield figurine. It is fucking tiny. Like, hold up, let me just get this out for you, and it's sitting right on top anyway. Like, on the back, you think, wow, Chris Redfield figure. Yeah, that ain't bad. That seems kind of cool. You get this tiny little ugly piece of shit. Like, that's all you get. Like, this little rinky-dink thing. Like, I know that they can only do so much with the paint job and stuff, but I have a ton of really detailed figures. Like, a fucking ton. And this one just, I don't know. I expected a lot better, to be honest. But, you know, whatever. It's collector's edition. And this also comes with the actual metal case for the game and stuff. But you get a necklace, a BSAA patch, a steel bookcase, because I just got to mentioning it. A Tricell messenger bag. It's all about Umbrella. Tricell can go fuck itself. But yeah, I thought it was kind of neat that they include all this stuff. There's also a version of it for PlayStation 3 that I actually lack, which kind of blows, but you know, what the fuck can you do? I want to get it at some point, but yeah. So it's Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5, you run around with Sheva. Sheva's always picking up your shit. You constantly have to keep on swapping out all your ammo and stuff. I just did not really dig the game because it was more about trying to be a duck and cover Gears of War type clone than it was about being a survival horror game. So I was never scared or even in a position to feel like I was scared. I had so much ammunition and fucking grenades and all sorts of shit tossed at me that I never felt like there was impending doom. I never had to think about my next move. I just had to think about what can I go and hide behind. Chris Redfield punches the shit out of a big ass boulder. Spoiler alert, I'm letting you know right now, so you might want to skip ahead. 1, 2, 3, and go. Wesker fucking dies, which I don't think he's actually dead. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna bring him back in some kind of form, but yeah, Wesker's dead. Fuck that, boo! Boo! Fuck all that noise. But yeah, I don't know, it's not like it's the worst game in the entire world. It's a competent action game, it's just not a very good survival horror game or a very good Resident Evil game, so, what the fuck can you do? I played it twice. But it's actually kind of a fun co-op game. I guess it does have that going for it. So, Resident Evil games on Nintendo Wii. Shall we do that? Wii! Okay, so I had talked about the Resident Evil HD Umbrella Collection, whatever the fuck you want to go and call it, that they didn't bring out on PlayStation 3 here in physical format. Well, this is where it got its start on Nintendo Wii. And the games, like I said, are really good. So this one right here, this will go through Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica. This one goes through Resident Evil and Resident Evil 3, I believe. Trying to make sure that I've got this stuff down pat. I cannot fucking tell, damn it. Oh well. Well, put it this way. If you have both, you'll be going through the events of all the games up to that point, so I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, Umbrella Chronicles, Darkside Chronicles, it's... Another thing to add to it is, I like the fact that it has a very interactive environment. You can shoot up everything. There are secrets galore everywhere. I do think that it controls a little bit better on Nintendo Wii than it does with the PlayStation Move. I just think that's a lot more accurate and more zippy whenever you're going to moving the crosshairs around and stuff. But like I said, if you're going to play the PlayStation 3 version, get the sharpshooter. It's just a lot fucking better than pulling the trigger on the move like 1,001 times. So just word of advice from AlphaOmegaSin. Let's see. What else do we have? Resident Evil 4, Nintendo Wii Edition. And this one I thought was the easiest version. This for a while I would say was like my all-time favorite version. I definitely lean towards a PC version. But the Wii version, I was getting headshots like nobody's fucking business. Like, shit was ridiculous. I was like, bitch dead, bitch dead, bitch dead. Oh, what it, dead. Hey, dead. What it, dead. You know what, today is dead. What time? Dead. So everything was fucking dead thanks to my trusty boomstick and a bunch of other things. Thank you, Ash. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, it's on there. It's one of the best versions of Resident Evil 4, so if you're ever thinking about getting one and you don't have it, you might want to consider that one. And the Archive Edition, which is going to allow for Nintendo Wii support, basically, and it's just a re-release, is Resident Evil 0 and the Resident Evil Remake. Not a whole lot is different outside of the fact that it allows you to use the Nintendo Wii remote, and if that isn't your cup of tea, which I can understand, because a lot of people don't dig the Nintendo Wii controller, all the fucking waggle bullshit, you can still use the GameCube controller on it, unless you have a Nintendo Wii that doesn't have the GameCube controller ports, then you're shit out of luck. And also, get a Wavebird controller. Those are the shit. I still need to get one. God, I just made myself depressed. So yeah, those are all the Resident Evil games on Nintendo Wii. I don't have any import versions of those or anything like that. Let's go and pick these ones up over here. Now, this right here I've always considered to be one of the best versions of the original Resident Evil because of just the exclusives that it has, and that's Resident Evil for the Sega Saturn. And Resident Evil for Saturn has a battle mode in it to begin with. That alone is cool as shit because our version of Resident Evil on PlayStation 1 and a bunch of other stuff did not have that. It's exclusive to this. It also has its own monster, and I was just like, that's cool as fuck. And if you're going and fighting Tyrant, you actually get to fight Tyrant twice. I thought that was fucked up, in Chris's game, mind you. Like, when you fight Tyrant once, and you kill him, on the other side of the room, another Tyrant comes out. It's like, what the shit the fuck? Thank you, James Rolfe. But the minute that I found out about that, I was just like, that is fucking badass. A lot of texture work in it also seems to be a little bit nicer, so I thought that was cool. So, yeah, but it's Resident Evil. It's on Sega Saturn. I love the Sega Saturn to death. One of the best systems in the entire world. Do not ever think that it wasn't that great because it didn't do as well as the PlayStation. It is fucking awesome. Now, that version's very good, but this version is actually better. This is Biohazard on Sega Saturn, you know, Resident Evil. Now, the reason that this version is better is, guess what? Remember all that stuff that I was talking about in Resident Evil Director's Cut that they left out, which obviously is in the PlayStation version from Japan? Well, it's on the Sega Saturn version from Japan as well, but because of all the extras that it has on it, like if they made Biohazard Director's Cut Plus or whatever for Sega Saturn, it would be like the most definitive version, but yeah, this is like one of the best versions that you can get, and an import copy of this is dirt fucking cheap. If you want to play it, there's tons of different devices out there that allow you to go and play import Sega Saturn games, which is how I do it. But it's a fantastic game. You should get it. It's fucking awesome. So any Sega Saturn fans out there that are also survival horror fans, those are good for you. Resident Evil Revelations, but it's actually Resident Evil Revelations. I had gotten this as soon as it came out because I pre-ordered my copy. I know that there's a version of it, there's I think a PAL version of this that actually includes the extra Circle Pad Pro, or the fuck they call it, but it's Resident Evil on the 3DS. And this showcased that the Resident Evil, that the 3DS in general is a little powerhouse machine with tons of untapped potential, because I still think Resident Evil Revelations is one that's pushed it to the fullest. Xenoblade Chronicles on the new 3DS is probably going to be the one to push it the most, but on the regular-ass hardware without the beefed-up RAM and stuff, our beefed-up CPU, this right here is fucking amazing. And if you get the version on the consoles, one of the things I didn't get to include with that is, graphically, they made them look a shit ton nicer. Like, the textures look a lot nicer, the polygon count is up the whole bunch, it just, you know, very steady frame rate the entire time that you're playing it. But for a handheld, this is just fucking awesome. Do not pass this up if you're a 3DS owner. It is very, very good. Now, for some Dreamcast love, we got Resident Evil 2, which, like I said, Resident Evil 2 on Dreamcast, I say is actually one of the best versions, unless you want to include Resident Evil Platinum, or Resident Evil 2 Platinum on PC, which, you know, that is fucking awesome as shit. And I do have that, but that's one of the things that's put away somewhere. I actually found that at a thrift store, too, by the way, which was, I was just like, holy fuck, but I don't have it in the big-ass box. That's one of the things that I don't have in his collection, I really wish I did, was Resident Evil games and, like, PC games inside the box. That's a bitch to find, and there's tons of different versions of them, just because they were released in so many different regions. So yeah, but Resident Evil 2 on Dreamcast. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on Dreamcast. And Resident Evil Code Veronica on Dreamcast. My very first way to be able to experience this, which was first way a lot of people got to experience it. Now, This right here is another version of the first Resident Evil, which you would think, you know, okay, how many times can they fuck about with the first Resident Evil? I mean, we have Resident Evil, we have Resident Evil Director's Cut, we have the Resident Evil remake. When is enough enough? Well, Resident Evil Deadly Silence. And guess what? Resident Evil DS Deadly Silence? Wordplay! So, two great ways to play. Classic mode, the original high-tension Resident Evil, and Rebirth mode. That's the one that's actually exclusive to this, by the way. A new high-octane action-intensive game. Multiplayer and more. Join up with 2 to 4 friends and stream together playing multiplayer mode in a specifically created map. Bonus minigame, Master of Knifing. I've never actually played the multiplayer on it, so I can't give any opinions on it. I'd like to, I just never had the opportunity to, because just haven't. But also, this actually is like one of the best covers to any of the Resident Evil games. Like, it is fucking sweet. But this has a first-person mode in it where you can go in and start knifing the living shit out of stuff. And they made the knife from Resident Evil really useful. Like in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, they made it a lot more useful. But in this, holy fuck is it awesome. And it's interesting to note that the very first version of Resident Evil, they originally were planning it to be a first-person game, and they want to have a first-person mode, but they just didn't have the time, or, you know, the system just wouldn't allow for them to do that. Well, this does. Rebirth mode also has a bunch of different puzzles inside of it that are exclusive to this, and yeah, it's just like shit's all switched around and stuff, and it's just very cool. Anybody that's got like a 3DS or a Nintendo DS, get this. It is fucking awesome. Just like Resident Evil Revelations, it's Resident Evil on the go. I mean, you get the original Resident Evil and a bunch of extra stuff. This is exactly what like re-release should be. Tons of extras, very fucking cool stuff right there. Let's see, what else do we wanna fuck with next? It's all big stuff, too. Alright, how about this? The Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles Magnum, and it comes with Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. You see that Magnum? That right there is a Dirty Harry, or should I say Dirty Barry. That is a Dirty Barry Magnum if I ever seen one. Look at that bitch. Look at that. You could pistol whip a fucking school bus with this and knock its ass the fuck out. Like, that shit is fucking awesome. But I thought that this was a cool little thing. Let's see. If you noticed right there, for the nunchuck, you get a little knife with it. And, let's see if it actually shows it. You get the little Resident Evil umbrella, logo that you can put right on top of it, so it's a little analog cap, and I thought that was really neat. But I thought it was cool that they had something that came with the game and came with a game attachment, because you don't see that all that often, and it's officially licensed. Obviously, or else like there'd be lawsuits out the dick. So yeah, Resident Evil Comfort Deco skin for the remote. Right there, they'll go over your Wii remote, so you can make it more stylish, but you know damn well it'll end up peeling off at some point. So yeah, I have that. And just for shits and giggles, I know this isn't an actual game, but I want to include it anyway. But Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, used with Nintendo Wii. It's the Shot Blaster! And this reminds me a lot of the Nintendo, holy fuck, I can't remember it, the little Wii Jesus Christ, I hate whenever I forget names. I forget, but the one that looks like a goddamn Tommy gun. But that's what this reminded me of. I was just like, oh, that's kind of neat. And as you can see on the back, this has like a big old diagram of how everything works, and they try to make it sound a lot more awesome than it is. Quick reload, snap grip up and down to reload. Provides realistic comfort during gameplay. Quick detachable nunchuck for custom gameplay. Full access to all remote and nunchuck buttons. If not, you fucked up the design. Joysticks, direction pad, and triggers. Direction pad, you don't hear it all often. It's a D-pad, motherfucker, it's a D-pad. Look at Wesker. Look at him. Look at him being badass. Being a fucking awesome, rific mofo. He's so fucking cool. Oh, Wesker, I heart you. You're such a fucking cool bastard. Alright, this right here is the Resident Evil 6 Collector's Edition, and it's the PAL version. Got a little needle bomb inside there. I just don't have somebody as hot as Ada tossing it around, but it doesn't matter. It's not a real needle bomb. It's actually just like a holographic thing. But the main thing that I thought was kind of cool about this was it included an entire fucking hoodie. Granted, the hoodie doesn't come in black, so I don't wear the hoodie, but it still had a hoodie nonetheless. And it's for the fucking Raccoon City Police Department, Raccoon City University. You can see it right on top right there. I don't feel like pulling this entire thing out. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of this at some point. Yeah, I don't know. But inside, Resident Evil 6 Collector's Edition contents for Resident Evil 6 game, Needle Bomb Collector's Box, Zombie Steelbook, exclusive art book, Ivy University hooded sweatshirt, Resident Evil 6 Forces emblems, and it has DLC with a dynamic theme. And a dynamic theme really isn't all that great, so I didn't give a shit. But you'd also have to have, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure you have to have a PAL version of a PSN account to be able to go and download it and get those. So yeah, but you can make those anytime you want. Like I have one of each. For Japan, for NTSC, and for PAL. Now, this, for anybody that's been following my channel really long time, and if you haven't been, then you can always go back and look at it. But I did like a review of this, and this is the Resident Evil Chainsaw Controller. This shit is ridiculous. I thought this was so fucking cool, and as a matter of fact, I got this from my job at the time, which I was working at Spencer's. But it's a full-blown GameCube controller, and it's a fucking chainsaw, and you would think that, oh man, that's gonna be uncomfortable. How's it work? It works real fine. Yeah. Resident Evil! And that's what I did at the beginning of my review for it, so yeah. I have to go back to the past. Yeah, I got blood all over. I can pretend I'm Leatherface, or I'm the fucking potato sack wearing motherfucker. And I'm like, Leon, come here. And he's like, oh my god, I have no head. Hey, Leon, heads up. Because this fucking head fell off. Pun fun. Yeah. So, yeah, but play this while playing through, like, cutesy games. Like, play Kirby's Air Ride while playing this. That sounds fucking amazing. Super Mario and Sunshine, like, wahoo, where am I gonna go with Flood? I'm gonna kill the Goombas. I'm like, that's what the fuck you do whenever you have something like this. But they didn't actually make just one of these. Here, get inside there. They actually made two of these because Resident Evil was also released on PlayStation 2, so they released another one. Dun 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 dun. And it comes in a lot better of a case. I like it quite a bit. Has a little drawer right here that includes the wire for it. And I was like, aren't we fucking little fancy pants and stuff? And up here, like, that one's gray. This one's actually reflective in silver and stuff. And it comes with like a little certificate of authenticity and stuff. And this little booklet right here, which is, let's go and take that out. Dun, dun, dun. Instruction manual in case you don't know how to use a fucking controller, and it tells you how to go and use it. But I'll be honest, looking at this right here, the way that it's in like the old style paper and stuff, and it's all faded looking, looks kind of neat. Thank you for purchasing the limited edition Resident Evil Chainsaw Controller for your use with the Sony PlayStation Entertainment System. Newbie Tech is proud to bring you this uniquely designed product that we are sure will oh man, I cannot fucking read today. That we are sure will bring you endless hours of enjoyment. You have no idea. Too many hours of enjoyment, as a matter of fact. Now this, which I want to do an unboxing of at some point, but this right here I got somewhat recently, which my one buddy who is in Japan and is now moving to Texas, he had sent this over to me because he knows how much I heart the living shit out of Resident Evil, but it's the Raccoon City Police Department Confidential, blah 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 blah, thingamabob, but basically, you can just read on the side, Biohazard 15th Anniversary Edition. Now, the reason why this is so fucking cool right here, beyond all the extras that comes with it, go and take this out. Now, this actually has, remember how I had Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Code Veronica, and it was like their greatest hits, the best version. Well, this is like the regular ass version, so I was happy to get it for that alone, but it also has this, and this is the meat and potatoes of it. You keep on opening, you keep on opening, you keep on opening, you keep on opening! Look at that! That is fucking badass. And what is this, you ask? Well, we have Biohazard Director's Cut, Biohazard 2, Leon, we have Biohazard 2, Claire, Biohazard 3, Last Escape, we have the Biohazard 4 original soundtracks, and Biohazard Code Veronica original soundtracks. So we get music in all the games. Physical games, folks. That's what the fuck these things ought to be, all the time. And I was just like, why the fuck couldn't we get that? So I imported it. You know why? Because I'm a die-hard fucking fan. So god diddly damn, I had to go and get that. And last but not least, I had gotten this while I went up to Con Bravo and I got to visit Canada, which I miss Canada, by the way. I had a lot of fun when I was up there. The Resident Evil 5 Xbox 360 limited edition, complete, and just holy fuck did I want this so much when it came out, and I couldn't afford it, and I got a badass deal on it. I could not pass it up. Like, if I did, I would be kicking myself because I'd be fucking mentally retarded, so I had to go in and get this because I was just like, holy shit. But the system, here, try to get a close-up of, here, it'll be easier on the back. The system is in all blood red and looks cool as fuck. It also has a matching controller. But yeah, you get Resident Evil 5 right along with it. Oh wait, you know what? I said that, yeah, Resident Evil 5 is the only Xbox 360 Resident Evil F. Damn it, I have to change that at some point. But I've been wanting to get this for a while, because it's not like I'll be able to get this limited edition Dreamcast. But I got it and it was all complete in a box, and I was really fucking happy about it, and it's in fantastic condition. So I thought that was really cool. I know that I'm missing other ones, like I'm missing Resident Evil Gaiden. I've actually passed on that quite a few times because I want it, like, complete in a box. And that game sucks balls. Big, hairy, sweaty, nasty, Fromunda cheese-covered balls. Holy fuck. Let's see, what else? I'm missing the Mercenaries 3D on Nintendo 3DS, a lot of PC games and stuff. But it's, you know, I'm trying. This is my collection so far. It's a fucking ton for somebody that's been collecting since 1997, so yeah, this is my Resident Evil game collection. I still got, like, I have action figures, strategy guides, art books, a ton of other shit. I just want to try to focus on the games and accessories and stuff. So I'm hoping that all of you out there enjoyed this video. I know it was a long video, but it was a lot of stuff to go through. Maybe you learned something about Resident Evil, maybe you want to go and check out some of this stuff. I have no fucking clue. Either way, I just hope that I was able to kill some time for you, and I want to do a collection video again, because it's been a while. So, anyway, opinions, thoughts, feelings, Resident Evil fans, survival horror fans, and gore hounds alike, this is AlphaOmegaSin, as always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers. Game the fuck on.